Basically, he has been focusing a lot on those companies that work with software development, either in-house or nearshore and offshore. So he's gonna share with us today a lot of his experiences and some tips and hints that he was able to gather across the years from all the situations that he has encountered. So for today's event, we are really proud and excited to have our first workshop. Today, we're going to be focusing a lot of interaction between our attendees and our speaker. So we encourage you to have your cameras open and be ready to ask any questions and comments during today's event. And in order to do this, we would like to know a little bit more about you. So we're gonna ask our attendees to give us a brief introduction about themselves, just basically their names, if they have some experience with software development teams, and what have been their biggest challenges they have faced yet. So if we have any volunteer to go first, please go ahead. If not, I'm gonna pick.
Yeah, I'm
Okay,
happy to volunteer.
Oh, thank you. Go ahead.
Yeah, my name is Zeph. I'm the founder of BA Maker Club. We actually are an online platform teaching 3D printing. And so far, my software development experience has mostly been just building WordPress websites. So right now we're trying to build out a web application. And so I'm looking to learn here.
Thank you. So we're gonna go to our next attendee. Let's pick one. Julian, are you there?
Yeah, hi everyone. My name is Julian. I'm in Montreal. I work for a video game studio called Phoenix Labs, which recently opened up in Montreal. It's the one of several studios. The company is headquartered in Vancouver, and they're branching out. So we're putting together a big data project with data analysis and a little bit of machine learning. So we're going to have to build a team. I don't have a lot of experience in managing teams, so I'm looking to get tips and pointers to building such a team and then managing them and getting great things out of them. So yeah, that's
awesome. Hopefully we can help you with that.
Cool.
Thanks a lot for sharing. James, okay, so we're gonna continue either way. Now I would like to for Marco to introduce himself. That way you can know a little bit more about him and he can share with you a little bit more about his experiences and who he is. Welcome, Marco.
Thank you, Miguel. Welcome everyone. Thank you for attending. Thank you for taking the time to be here today. Let me tell you a little bit about myself, about my experience. As Miguel said, I have been working building software products for the last 10 years. I have been doing that, working mainly with the startups and entrepreneurs for trying to get their first version out to market. And it's a really interesting problem to solve because you're faced with a lot of challenges and a lot of constraints into what you can do. You don't have a lot of time. You need to focus on building the right things to get ahead of your competition and to really get that head start that will allow you to build a really great product. So through that time, I have been able to work with different teams. A lot of those times, those teams have been in-house, but other times those teams have been all remote. So it's an interesting experience trying to build a team that can work all across the globe and get the work done and achieve really good results by themselves. So some of the things that I want to share with you today are some of the challenges that we have seen or I have faced while trying to build these products and trying to build these teams, how I have tried to overcome them. I'm by no means an expert in any of these teams, but from my personal experience and from what I have seen that works, this is what I can tell you, and this is what I will try to share with you. So feel free to also ask questions as we go along, and I will try to give you my best experience.
Thank you. For today's event, we're going to be focusing on 5 of the main points that we have identified as relevant in software development teams. For these points, we're going to have a brief introduction from myself about the point we're going to discuss. Then Marco is going to share with us his point of view, experiences, and all information he can about the topic. And after that, we're going to have a small period of time where we invite you all to participate, ask questions, and basically tell us a little bit about your current experience or situation that you might be facing. As for this event, we want this to be almost like a one-on-one event where you have the opportunity to interact with a CTO and the other attendees. So now we're going to move to our first topic, which is building a diverse team. For every single software development team, the first step is to build it. And knowing how to build a diverse team might be the difference between succeeding in what you're trying to accomplish with this team or failing. And thus, there is a huge importance in knowing how to build these teams. And Mark is going to share with us a little bit about his own experiences with building a diverse team.
Thank you, Miguel. Okay, yeah, so as Miguel said, one of the first things that we need to take into account and that it's really important is the team that is going to build what we're trying to build, the software product that we're building. And it's not only the developers, but all the team that gets involved, the designer, the marketing team, everyone in the company is really important for the success of the product. And so this is really important because if you don't have a team that is diverse, that really has people from different cultural contexts, you are going to be missing out on things. Like you might be overlooking some things that you think are really obvious because of your own context, because of your own experiences, but that are really different for people on other with other contexts or with other culture. So, like for example, for me as a male, I might think that something is should be worded in some way or should work in a way, or I might be I might not even know of some of the problems that women face on their day-to-day basis. So for me to have women on our team is really valuable because she can bring a lot. She can bring a lot of her technical experience to the table, and besides that, she can also bring her own experiences as a woman and her own experiences in her own context to the team, and that adds to the product that we're trying to build. So it's as diverse as you can make your team, the better the product that you're going to be able to build. So how do we get a team that is diverse? Well, it's a really big challenge because we are usually closer to what's more like us. So trying to find people that it's not exactly minded like us or that have different context than us can be harder. Depends really a lot on where you are located. For example, there are cities that have a really diverse culture already. They have a lot of people that you can find for different areas, but there are other places where you cannot find that talent. So it's important to be really flexible while you're looking for talent. It's important to be mindful of where you're looking for that talent. So you need to look in places where you might not look in other cases. So, for example, if you're trying to hire more women into your team, it might be a good idea to look into Facebook groups of women who code, or trying to find some women in your community who are coders who can help you tailor the job application that you are putting up there so that it's more appealing to other people or to other women, sorry. That it's also important that you can be looking on remote for remote contractors, so that way you're not only limited to the physical place where you are at, you are able to find people with who are really talented outside your own zone. So that way you can get the best of both worlds. You need to also be mindful of how you're paying. It's important that you're paying well. Don't try to save on talent. It's the most valuable asset of your company. Like the people that you hire and the people that work with you are going to be the ones that build where you're trying to achieve, and are going to be the ones that are going to be responsible of bringing your ideas to life and to actually building what you have in mind. So if you chip out on that, you are going to get something that doesn't match the expectations that you're looking for.
Thank you. Looking like we are good on this topic. Therefore, I'm just going to ask Marco one more question before we move to the next topic. And it's, what has been the biggest advantage you have been able to identify that comes from building a diverse team? Why would you suggest other tech leaders to build and focus on diverse teams?
Yeah, I think that sometimes while we're trying to build our products, we get blindsided by our ambitions and our own expectations of what the product should do and how it should work, and the things that we want it to do. But if we expose ourselves to and our ideas to more people, to people with different mindsets, who have different experiences and who live the world through their own eyes, and that will give us a really big advantage over everyone else, because that can really help you understand how people are actually going to perceive your product, how they're going to use the product. You might be thinking that some of your ideas are the best ideas in the world, but you might be biased on how you perceive the world or how you interact with it yourself. So having a diverse team helps you overcome those biases, helps you make your product more accessible to everyone in the community, and by making it more accessible and making it easier for everyone to understand and to use it, you are going to get a bigger audience, and you're going to get more people on your product, and it's going to be more successful.
Sure. Yeah, I think the most important thing about diverse team is that the different point of views that you mentioned. So thanks for sharing that. Now we're gonna move to our next topic. Basically, for this topic, we want to focus on the importance of empowering your team and defining roles within your teams. These help the organization stay in track and follow some kind of structure. So, Marco, what can you tell us about this?
Okay, yeah. So one of the really important things while trying to build a software product, and especially if you're not a technical lead yourself, you don't have the technical background, is having the right people on your team and giving them the right tools, and giving them the power to build what you want and to work using their own expertise. So you're already found people that have different backgrounds than yours, that are really good on their own technical skills, that now have to build things. So now you need to give them the proper tools to actually build those things, and you need to give them the room to work so that they can use their expertise and their own experiences to build the right product. So what this means is that you need to focus on the bigger picture. You need to think about what you want to accomplish with your product, what are the problems that you're trying to solve, and you need to be very clear with your team about that. You need to make sure that everyone understands why you're trying to solve that problem, what's the problem that you're trying to solve, what's the solution that you're proposing, but also that you're open to other solutions from them. So that way, if you're missing out on something, if you didn't think about something because you don't know how to develop, or maybe you don't know about machine learning or other technology, that someone on your team does. So that way they can bring that new idea to you. So that way it's really important that you try to focus on this big picture, on give them objectives to work on, and to build the product to get to that objective the way that they see better. So that means that you are not going to be focusing on the color of every single button on the app, or you're not going to be trying to change the position of an image by 10 pixels down. You're focusing on what you're trying to accomplish through the app, and you need to focus on having a good team that can deliver quality to you. So that was part of what we were talking first, is that you need to hire good people, you need to hire and find the talent that it's out there, and then you give them the power to build what you want, and trust them.
One question that I have about this topic is, I know that you have probably faced in your career a situation where the team has no defined roles. So how would you explain the problems that arise from that situation?
So I think that the biggest problem there is that no one is going to be responsible for anything. So if no one has a clear role, everyone does what they feel like doing. And yeah, you might have some people that are overachievers, and they're going to take on more responsibility than everyone else, and they might push the team for some time, but they're going to get burned out, and they're going to get tired of doing all the work without getting any actual reward for it if you don't have a role defined, or seeing that other people are not doing the work that they should be doing, and that they're carrying their weight. So it's really important that you have clear roles defined for everyone that knows what their responsibilities are and what they're expected to do. So that way you don't have to get these kind of surprises. It's also important that you do fast feedback cycles. So if someone is not doing what you expect them to do, or is not catching up to what you want them to do, or to the team speed, you need to be fast and talk with them and set clear expectations and help them overcome the barriers that they're facing. So it's not only important to tell them what to do, or not exactly what to do, because the goal here is to give them the tools so that they can say what exactly needs to be done. But it's important to give them this feedback quickly, and to help them overcome the issues that they're facing.
Yeah. Now that we have seen how to build the team and how to empower it and define the roles within each person inside the team, I wanted to focus on the next topic, which is the tips and suggestions you have for a first-time leader of a software team. We know it's difficult to be a leader in any way, and more when you're talking about software teams where there are such a diversity of people, coding languages, and so many technologies and processes involved. So which will be the tips and suggestions you will share with someone that is just going to be a first-time new team leader in this area?
Yeah, of course. It's a really exciting experience to be building your first product, or trying to lead your first team. But it's also a really challenging and daunting experience. It can be really hard because we're trying to come up with something that we have in our mind, in our imagination, and that we envision to be something that it's going to be really big and to have a lot of things. So we might be thinking about what our product might look like not in a few months, but in a couple of years, once it's like a big company. So it's important to try to focus on the smaller picture first, like to try to think about what's the first thing that I need to do. What do I need to get to my customers that they really need right now? What's the first problem that we're going to solve? How are we going to solve it? And then build this first version in a way that allows you to add more value to your customers all the time. So this means that you always need to try to focus on the features that are really adding something to your customer. Sometimes your clients might be asking you for a new feature, or they might be asking you to add something, and you need to hear them. It's not going to be always exactly what they're telling you, what you need to add. But if you really hear them out and you understand their needs, you will come up with what you actually need to build into your product. And you need to understand that your customers' issues, so that way you can know how to best add value. So it's important that once you understand that, you can communicate that to your team, and that they also understand how your customers are using your tool, how the issues that they're facing every day. For example, if you are working with people that are on the field all day and they are using your tool through an iPhone or through a phone, and then maybe they are doing that while on the street with the sun above them. So you need to make your team aware of that, because maybe then they can think, hey, we need to make this interface more with higher contrast, or we need to have elements that are bigger, so that way the client or the user that it's interact with the app, you can actually see what's on the screen because of the environment that they're at. So, so understanding what you're doing, the problem that you're facing, and how your customer uses your app, and passing that down to your team, it's really important. Also trying to do that in really short cycles, so that way you do something like every 2 weeks, you can release a new small version and new improvements on your app when possible. So that way you're always adding something that allows your customer to work better with your app, or to give them a little more value. That will also help you retain customers and keep them happy.
When we're talking about these suggestions, I would like to ask you if you could share with us a real example of some of the aspects you just talked about. Maybe a situation that you faced that taught you these points, or if you can talk to us about a situation that you faced.
Okay, yeah, of course. So, for example, we have one client or one app, which their clients are always asking for a lot of stuff. Like they work on really diverse industries, so they always ask for really specific reports. And if we try to build all those reports the way that the customers or that each customer asks for, it will be impossible, because we will be trying to make something that it's really tailored to each client and each industry. But then what we do is that we get the team to listen to what the customers are asking, how they're using the tool, to what they are trying to understand through these reports. For example, like I'm trying to see how many how many times a month I'm missing supplies on this restaurant chain, for example. So once we really understand the problem, the team is able to propose solutions that not only work for this particular client, but that can be applied to many other customers. So instead of giving a specific solution to one customer, by really understanding their problem, and by giving the team the ability to come up with a solution themselves, we're able to add a lot of value to not one, but to all the customers that are working on or that are using that application.
Thanks for sharing with us that. Now that we have spoken about building the team, defining the roles, and some suggestions that can help us um, manage these kind of teams, I wanted to focus on our next topic, the importance of effective communication. I think that nowadays communication is one of the most important aspects between any team, um, mostly because of the current global situation that we're living. A lot of teams are separated by um, all of these situations, and they are working currently remotely. So how can we have an effective communication inside our teams, and what can you tell us about this topic?
Yeah, of course. So it's really important now that everyone is remote and that all the teams are across the globe, to have really good communication with them, to be really clear about what we expect and what we want to achieve, and to always be on the loop. So it's important to set up rituals and protocols that allow you to be on touch. So, for example, you need to set up weekly meetings or daily meetings, depending on your team and what you're trying to accomplish. And be sure to always try to keep that schedule and be committed with that time. Your team can work all the hours that they want, like many different hours, as long as you can keep that schedule and be sure that everyone knows how to best get in touch with the other people on the team and when is the best time to get in touch with them. It's important to have an open channel of communication. Like, you need to have a chat tool available for all your teams, so that way you can keep communications about things that are general to the team open. So instead of writing to your teammate or to one of your developers about a specific topic, try to involve all the team and try to do that on a team channel, so that way everyone can can understand the issue and can give their perspectives and can help you solve the problem. Or even if they don't need to participate on that conversation themselves, they can use that for context later once that issue comes up in a team meeting, for example. So that way you can keep everyone on track, and that way you don't leave anyone out of the conversation.
Thank you. About this, a lot of companies and a lot of teams, they were forced to remote working because of the global situation. And I wanted to ask you about that. How was your team able to adapt to this new normality that they are calling? And how were you able to basically improve communications inside the team under this new model?
Yeah, I think it's been a really interesting challenge to face now with the pandemic and having everyone going remote, or almost everyone going remote. So I think something that's really worked for us is trying to do team meetings often, like every 2 weeks. We try to do something with the team where it's not only work. We try to chat a little bit, see how everyone is doing. We need to compensate for all the time that we're not spending with each other on the office, for example. So trying to build those relationships is really important, and not only staying like on the work phase, because like I said, like having this empathy with the people and them being able to have this empathy with the product that you're building and how you're building, and the other people on the team, it's really important to be able to achieve something that is really good. So like, if you just need them to get the work done and go, you can just sign tasks, send them an email with all the tasks, and be done with it, right? And see you in a couple of weeks once you're done. But if you're really trying to build something that it's awesome, that it's going to keep growing, and the team that is going to keep growing and building this fabulous idea that you have, it's really important that you care about your team and that you try to keep in touch with them.
Thank you. I think we can both agree in this topic that communication serves in order to optimize inside processes and lower the times it takes to complete tasks. So it is a really important thing to master, mostly if you are a team leader. That way you can make sure your whole team is the same in the same channel about what they are doing and why they are doing it. So now we're gonna move to our last topic for today, which is how to set goals and track basically your teams. After all, keeping track of the team, measuring the process that it's going on, and the results and objectives that they are able to attain is one of the biggest challenges of today's leaders. And so I wanted to ask you about this topic and see what can you tell us about the goals and tracking system that you use with your teams and that other ones can implement in their own teams.
Okay, yeah, of course. So it's really important now. Well, that everyone is remote, especially, and you're not able to go to someone's desk and see their progress and see how they're doing and give them immediate feedback. That we set up tools and processes in place that allow us to work with those limitations or through those constraints. So one of the things that it's really important, it's doing agile. I think it's something that works really good with this type of like with building new products or building startups, because you're able to build things really fast. You're able to communicate with your team, tell them what you need to do, and leave them alone. Do that. But it's also something that you can do really fast. So that way, after a week or 2 weeks of them working, you can see how they're doing, and you can see if what the team is accomplishing, it's what you expected, what the market is expecting, and if it's something that needs to be adjusted or changed, it can be changed easily. So I think that doing it this way, it's a really good way to enabling your team to work really fast and to help you build your product faster. But to give them this freedom and ability, you need to make sure that you're really clear on what your objectives are, whether the problems are you trying to solve, and you need to also make sure that you take the time to create documentation around this. So you need to write user stories. You need to make sure that you write what you expect the users to do, how do you expect, or what problems are you expecting them to solve. And if you have some solutions to those problems, you need to also put them there. So the more time that you put into creating this description of what you expect or problems that you're trying to solve and how you expect them to be solved, it's going to be better for how the team can work with that. So after you write all this, you need to put it in a tool that can help you track the progress of your team. You can use things like Trello, Pivotal Tracker, Country, Notion even. There are different tools that you can use. The important thing is that you can share these tasks with your team. You can share this user story, and you can allow them to work with them and share information through this tool. So that way, maybe they have some comments or they have some questions about that. They can ping you on that card, and you can see the question that they had that they wanted to ask you right there on the card with all the other information about the user story. So that way you don't lose context. Because sometimes we might be tempted to use chat, for example, to solve some questions, but you might be losing some context and what you're trying to solve. So it's really important to invest into trying to set a good process into how you are following up on tasks and where you're documenting everything, and to try to automate things. So that way you don't invest as much time trying to write things down, trying to document everything, or trying to make the tools work for you, but instead just getting the value out of the tools that you're using.
Thank you. Yeah, I think we all have seen that there's a big need to measure currently not only teams but our own progress and what we are achieving every day. So this is one of the main aspects, as we have said, in order to find success and to basically achieve what we're trying to do and trying to achieve with our teams. So I would like to ask from you a summary. What do you take from this, basically from this workshop about the topic that we have discussed, and basically to summarize all that we have talked about in one last conclusion.
Yeah, of course. Well, I think that the biggest takeaway is that it's important to have a diverse team, a team with different backgrounds, that they can all add to your product, to what you're trying to build, and help you build something that it's really accessible, really awesome, and that can be it's not only what you think will be best, but it's actually what can be best from the perspective of different people. So I think that knowing that having the right people on your team, it's the key to building the best product that you can and the best company that you can. It's a really good motivation to put up the time and put up the money to actually find the talent that's right for you and your team, and not to settle for just anyone.
Thank you. I think that with that we can basically end today's workshop. We are very thankful for you being here today, and for every single one of our attendees. Thank you for your time. And we just want to conclude saying understanding how our software development teams work, how to build them, how to measure them, and how to have a effective communication inside of them. All of that can serve in order to achieve the success that we want from these teams. And if we are successful with these teams, we're going to find success in our businesses. So thank you very much for being here, and see you next time.